On behalf of the Board of Trustees and this entire Baldwin community, I am proud to officially welcome you as the head of the school, of the Baldwin School.
"22 years ago, I sat 100 yards from here, wearing a blue kilt and white polo, just like all my Baldwin Bears are wearing today, soaking up lessons in French and physics, learning how to play field hockey on handbells, and reveling in the chance to try new things in the art studio. I left here confident in my academic abilities, passionate about my next step, and ready to take on the world. But it took me many years until I truly understood Baldwin's most important lessons. 12 years ago, I stood on the deck of an aircraft carrier, lurching in high seas as we pitched 15 feet up in the air and crashed down again, nearing the limit for safe flight ops. Fortunately, there were clear skies and nearly a full moon, so it was still a good night to fly. An hour later, we were airborne over the Pacific Ocean, hundreds of miles from civilization, when our jet, an EA-6B Prowler, had a full electrical failure. The two engines still worked to keep us aloft, but everything in the cockpit, the lights, the navigation system, the radios that let us talk with each other in the outside world, went dead. What followed was a bit scary, a bit invigorating, a true test of problem-solving skills at 500 miles per hour. And I won't go into too many details. My mother's here in the audience. But suffice to say that after multiple attempts at a carrier emergency landing, we were back safe aboard the ship and preparing for our next flight. Baldwin had taught me to be fearless. 4 years ago, I sat in a hotel courtyard in Sana'a, adjusting my abaya so I looked a little more like a local Yemeni. I was waiting to meet Walid, a former Al-Qaeda recruiter who had agreed to meet me for lunch. When he arrived, we shared tea and stale biscuits, discussed drone strikes and US foreign policy, and he shared stories from Tora Bora and Osama bin Laden. The topic of religion came up, and I found myself pressed to divulge my Jewish background. My translator was aghast, sitting there at a table in the heart of Yemen's capital with a Jewish American woman and a former Al-Qaeda terrorist. Even more surprising, I soon found myself explaining to him what it was like to be a conservative Jew and answering questions about Jerusalem. It turns out he'd always wanted to go. Baldwin had taught me to challenge perceptions. A little over a year ago, I watched from stage right as the president stood at a lectern just like this one, announcing a cybersecurity initiative that I'd helped design. A series of programs to better protect the US financial system from cyber attack and better safeguard Americans' online personal data. The speech was a celebration of progress in cybersecurity, and the president's witty asides were going over quite well. After the event, I had my own real-life version of, what would you do if stuck in the elevator with the leader of the free world? Backstage with the president, no agenda, no public eye, just some spare time. Two people discussing US national security. When the president heard about my work in Yemen, about my research on counterterrorism, he leaned in and gave me a hug. Then he asked, what should we do about ISIS? I promptly explained the pros and cons of a 4-point counterterrorism strategy that I made up on the spot. Baldwin taught me to find my voice. Baldwin prepared me for those moments and more. Its teachers inspired me to be curious and kind. Its coaches trained me to take risk and be resilient. My classmates encouraged me to be fearless and feisty. Baldwin taught me to value my voice. And that's why I'm here today. It's an incredible honor assuming leadership of an institution that has given me so much over the years, a school that has had such a lasting influence on my life, and a community that helped me serve our country and have impact at the national and global level. But I stand here knowing that my story is only one small part of Baldwin's story. That each and every day, our students, our alum, our faculty and staff create moments where a Baldwin girl's confident voice and daring vision shapes the world around her, and that I owe a great debt to all those who came before, women and men who ensured that Baldwin and its girls continue to thrive. We're here today to affirm the greatness of our school. Thinking back to a fall morning 128 years ago, when Florence Baldwin opened a school for girls in her mother's house on the corner of Morris and Montgomery Avenues. The first class had 5. 10 years later, there were 34. And soon, to accommodate growing numbers that wanted a Baldwin education, the school moved into the then Bryn Mawr Hotel, the historic building we call our residence. Over 125 years later, we come together to cheer the impact of Baldwin. The impact it has locally, nationally, and globally, in big ways and small, on so many of you here today, and those watching online from afar. We applaud graduates who've had a meaningful impact in every sector and every corner of the world, from those who've become groundbreaking academics and authors, scientists and architects, to those who rose to the top ranks of journalism and the arts, including the first female editor of Time magazine, and a renowned artist whose ceramics are permanently installed at US embassies around the world. From a world-renowned philosopher who recently won the Kyoto Prize, to graduates who conquered the corporate sector, like the CEO of the world's second largest music publisher and the chairman of an aerospace manufacturer. And we pause to recognize graduates serving in the military at home and abroad, and those running nonprofits, and to celebrate our acclaimed athletes, including 2 Olympians and 1 professional triathlete. I'd just like to note that I used to run Fishers with our Ironman champ. I won't tell you who made it up the hill first. Today's Baldwin Bears are equally impressive, impactful, generous, and bold. Our seniors, who've been studying Baldwin's archives to understand the school's history. One was so impressed by Baldwin's approach to girls' education in the 1950s, she decided to write a paper about it. And one of our juniors is now launching a Baldwin Research Journal to publish that paper and other independent research that our girls produce. Even as another is raising funds for a nonprofit that builds school for children in need, and a classmate is studying Sanskrit in her free time. They've all found ways to nourish their love of learning. Or our 6th grade animal lovers who started a club to help protect the most endangered species of the world. They did some research, talked to international nonprofits, and decided to sponsor 2 polar bears, real-life Winnies. They saw a problem and figured out how to help solve it. They found a way to make the world a better place. Or our 2nd grader who already understands the importance of both being her best self and encouraging her friends to push themselves to greatness. When a pop quiz appeared on this young bear's desk one morning, she heard her classmate whisper, "Oh no, this looks hard." So she leaned over and whispered back, "Don't worry, you got it. You're a Baldwin girl." I could go on, but the girls have a soccer game this afternoon, and it would take me too long to mention all the ways that they live Baldwin's mission each and every day. But even those few stories should make us smile to think of the uniqueness of each Baldwin girl's path. They should make us pause to reflect on how much impact our community has, and they should give us great pride in the essence of what Baldwin does. Inspires young women to be bold, teaches them to know their value, and provides a community of support throughout. That is the true genius of Baldwin, that it teaches our girls to say what they think, write what they know, and live what they believe. In the process, we change the world for the better. That is why Baldwin matters so much, and why, at this moment in time, it's so important to reaffirm our mission, to reiterate our commitment to fostering young women with a bold vision and a strong voice, to ensure that our girls have the skills and confidence to be their best selves, whatever they pursue. Because even today, every door isn't open to our girls. Every opportunity isn't readily available. We live in an era where women make up half of college graduates, but less than 30% of those employed in science and engineering. When women hold fewer than 20 congressional seats, despite being a majority of the US population. When women are massively underrepresented in entrepreneurship, and when the number of women running Fortune 500 companies numbers 25, or just 5%. So while for the first time a woman has a real chance of leading the free world, we can't say when or even if we'll approach gender parity in business, science, entrepreneurship, elected office, and more. Or how we can ensure that our girls have every option open to them in and out of the home and at local and national levels. To my Baldwin family, my faculty and staff, Baldwin parents and alum, and our current Baldwin Bears, I say to you today, we have more work to do. Because it's a Baldwin girl who'll change the world. Whether inside her home, in her community, or on the global stage. Because a Baldwin education allows all of you, all my polar bears, past, present, and future, the opportunity to choose your path and reach for the stars, secure with the intrinsic belief that you can and will make an impact. So I'd ask us all to consider why you're here today. What brought you here to support this historic moment of our school? I'm here because I know just how much Baldwin matters to me and the world. For your commitment to that mission, I give my thanks. My thanks to Baldwin's parents, including my own mother and father, who are here today to celebrate. Thank you, Mom and Dad, and all the moms and dads who are here today, for having the foresight to know how much difference a Baldwin education makes, and for the profound commitment you've made to your daughter's future by sending her here. The confidence you show in our school, in our mission, in our faculty and staff makes all the difference. To your daughter, our community, and all those your daughter will impact when she leaves here. I give my thanks to my amazing faculty and staff for supporting me, my classmates, and fellow alum, and for continuing to inspire today's Baldwin Bears. You go above and beyond each and every day to ensure we live out Baldwin's mission. In the classroom and lab, on the playing field, on the stage. You make this a special, impactful community for each other, for our families, and especially for our girls. Everyday magic happens here, and that's because of you. I look forward to supporting your work over the years ahead. Finally, to my Baldwin Bears, fellow alum, including my two sisters, and of course, today's Baldwin ladies, from our youngest girls in pre-K to our next graduates. Thank you for being bold and fearless, spirited and supportive, funny and fun. Thank you for demanding the best of each other and of yourselves, and for your commitment to this school, to our community, and to the world. I've long told anyone who will listen that the most amazing women in my life are my Baldwin girls. Friends, classmates, teammates, fellow alum. And I'm so excited that I get to add to my list the newest Baldwin Bears, today's Baldwin Bears, and that I get to watch over the years ahead the great impact you'll have. Thank you all for exemplifying Baldwin's best. Thank you. It's a historic day for our school, and I hope you share my passion for the past, my commitment to our present, and my excitement for the future. I can't wait to see where we go from here. And now we can start the real cheering, ladies.